get my recorder going here. Good morning, everybody. And we paused the jazz for a while. And welcome to Enlighten Radio. Here comes Karen into our virtual studio. Today's program is the Winners and Losers Radio program. And we couldn't think of a new name, and that was the name we had, I don't know, 15 years ago. So we kept it. Anyway, and this is our Friday program. I call it starts at 7:30ish. So, and then you try to get the podcast up as soon as possible. I think everything's recording. Sometimes I have a tendency to forget, and then that's a bad thing. So I turned on 2 of them, so in case I have to forget twice to lose the record. Anyway, good morning, and welcome, Karen Valentine, the co-host for this program, and we have a special guest running for governor. Is that right?
It's U.S. Senate.
U.S. Senate. Yeah, I got that wrong last time too.
It's all good.
That's just senility.
Just as
That's
long
all it
as
is.
Zach's running
Old
for
age.
something.
I mean, good Lord, it's time to. Anyway, welcome, Zach. So the United States Senate. So you're going to be running against either Justice or Looney, right?
That's correct.
That's
correct.
And are there other Democrats that are in the race?
There's one. Well, technically 2, but only one's real. Glenn Elliott, the mayor of Wheeling, has entered the race, and then the third person is Don Blankenship, which is
right, another loony. Yeah, right. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I really was. I mean, nothing shocks me anymore. But when Blankenship entered, I just it was a little too much for me to even swallow.
What would his base be?
Don Blankenship's base?
Yeah, who's going to vote for him?
Be honest, I couldn't tell you. He's tried this with the Republican Party before, and he absolutely failed. There, he ran for U.S. Senate under them, and I think he ran for president under the Constitution Party. So, I mean, coming to the Democratic Party, he's probably going to play even worse for him on that regard.
Yeah, so, I can't. Who knows? But
I assume he just wants to. I assume he just wants to stay relevant. And
does he have? Is he trying to raise money to pay off lawsuits or something? Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, he's still independently wealthy. So
yeah.
Well, I couldn't tell you why that man decided to enter this race. But like I said, there's technically 3 of us, but only 2 of us are actually real.
All right. What's the big issue in the race? If you had to accomplish a single thing, what would it be?
Gosh, man. Everything's so interconnected.
Well, yeah, but there's a thread.
It's nice to see to hear a politician that actually knows that things are interconnected. That's pretty important.
Ultimately, it comes down to the addiction crisis in West Virginia. Really is at the root cause of many things, and that's for me one of the main things I've been trying to tackle outside of this run. Just going through and doing Narcan trainings across the state and trying to break the stigma of people being addicted. Right now, we have a lot of the state government, and along with the nation, treats people who have their addiction like they're not people. That's just not true. I have a very compassionate approach to this. I think we can't just throw people in jail and expect people to get better. So we need to be encouraging recovery programs in mass across the state and others, and help people get the help they need, and just come from a place of understanding, not just throwing people into prison and expecting that to help them get jobs, and it could continually repeat the cycle of doom. So,
Zach, it's something we've talked about before on the show. It's something John and I are pretty aligned and passionate about. Is that when that cycle of addiction and poverty, addiction, abuse, it's all related, and it's such a distraction. And I think it keeps the powers that be in power, because, it takes so much pride and energy away from the people that really need the help, and who we should be making laws for and about, and that's what legislation should be about, is constituents. But it really silences a lot of people in our state.
Right.
And but I think, like I said, the powers that be are just fine with that. So it's really fighting a battle of classes almost.
No, absolutely. I mean, like you said, the powers that be, I mean, it works to their favor to consistently keep up the fear-mongering messaging that keeps voters divided, keeps people, like you said, distracted from other issues. If you keep people afraid of things, that's their whole tactic. I mean, you can look at a lot of let's use the governor's race for example. All the ads coming out from the Republican candidates in that regard, it's all just fear mongering, no solutions whatsoever, and that always seems to be the playbook across the board for that side.
One thing I want to ask you, I know that a lot of my friends and colleagues that are actively involved in the Democratic Party and independents as well, everybody is sharing this grand frustration about messaging. Like, why are we not able to get through to just the average person about this I guess the stark contrast between being able to even stomach supporting some of these people. I mean, if West Virginians knew what laws have been passed in the legislature this year, I mean, I've never seen anything like this year's session. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. And it's like, how do we get the message out? How do we get over that hump? I feel like that's where our problem is.
Well, I've had actually a lot of success in this. This campaign has given me a lot of success in that. I've gone into rooms full of Republicans, independents, what have you, and frankly, I have a very kind of aggressive messaging. I don't beat around the bush about it, and it goes I have a very pro working class message. I say, when it comes down to social issues, we might not agree, but at the end of the day, I'm fighting to make sure you have food on your table. Your roads are fixed. Your wages are actually reflective of the work you're doing, which right now none of us have the wages that reflect anything. Really, my messaging is I'm bringing this right to your doorstep, and here's your problems going on. We might not agree on anything on a lot of things socially, but economically, we can't deny that West Virginia has fallen behind, and our lives here are not doing great. We need jobs. We need to embrace the future, and I've had a lot of success in that. I just,
I like that, because it is just talking about real issues. And one thing, I think I mentioned, John and I were talking on the telephone yesterday, is, a lot of very right-leaning or conservative Republicans often talk about, government, needs to stay out of our right to have guns, and, just government stay out of everything. Just, kind of a more libertarian kind of, just do the basics. But when you look at what they are governing, they are getting involved in everything, in everybody's bedroom and pants and bathroom and
Well, no, that's one of the arguments that I like to use that argument, because they come from a very anti-government stance. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it then. Why do you allow the government to say what someone can do with their body consistently? Why do you allow the government to mandate what's going on in someone's bedroom? That's not your business. It's not my business. Who cares what's happening there? It's not affecting anybody besides consensual people. That's literally not your problem, man. I mean, like I said, I have a very I approach that very aggressively and very upfront about it, and people seem to resonate very heavily with that. I mean, I've been told multiple times that people appreciate blunt honesty, like, because ultimately, when you see candidates in these types of races, it's usually beating around the bush, or they let's say you ask me a question, I want to give you a 10-minute answer, not even answering it, and I just can't do that. That's not how I do things. So
Well,
You know,
I mean, we need more of you, and less talking points and more reality.
Yeah.
so I understand that almost 1,000 steel workers don't lose their job in the northern panhandle, and also about 600 or 700 logging
Yeah.
workers. One due allegedly to a trade dispute.
Yeah.
And are arguing about whether or not, I guess it's China and India are dumping, or mainly China. I'm not sure. Somebody's dumping steel at like the state is dumping surplus steel on the market. That's the accusation, and it put one of them out of business. But nonetheless, at the same time, the legislature has on the table, I'm not sure what happened to it on Monday. It may have failed in the House, to cut unemployment.
Yeah. So, I mean, it comes down, for me, it comes down to it's all corporate greed end of the day. I mean, they didn't have to lay off those. They don't have to lay off those workers, but they want to keep their max profits. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that company was making millions of dollars in profits. I posted about it on social media.
Yeah.
But instead of taking care of their workers, they have to make sure that their pockets stay aligned, their wallets stay full. So I mean, I put the blame right at the corporations' leadership on that. And
what do we do about it?
It's about,
what do we do about it? I mean, what is it that we can do about it, though? See, I mean, yeah.
You have to. I mean, it's you have to be an aggressive approach to this in government and really rein in these. I'm trying to think of the right word here, but the problem with corporations in America is that it all comes down to is they don't protect their actual workers. They rather send their jobs overseas to pay those workers across the overseas incredibly low wages. No Americans can work, and if you do get a job here, they'll blame it on, like I said, they'll blame it on tariffs, they'll blame it on trade disputes. You have to rein it in to the point where working class people are protected. It's not all about a corporate boardroom or stockholders making all their money. So it's going to come down to the government actively has to, legislatures to band together and actively fight CEOs, fight these corporations to
on the table. There's a third issue that I believe that Kroger and Albertson are about to merge, and there's quite a few union members in Kroger and just in West Virginia. I know that I believe that this is also an effort to weaken the union in Kroger's by the acquisition of Albertsons, which used to be a Mormon-owned organization way back. I don't know whether it still is or not, but
I don't know if it is or not. I've just recently become abreast to the Kroger union. I've been trying to figure out how to assist the Kroger's union. Have they gone on strike yet? I don't believe they are on strike just yet.
No, but they're very apprehensive about this merger. That's what I've heard, and there's talk of. I'm not sure the current contract or the distribution of stores and stuff like that would remain the same. So there's the possibility that, union stores would be closed. And
I know people are very much worried about price gouging if Kroger and Albertsons join together, because then you have literally Kroger, Albertson, and Walmart would be like, don't quote me on that, I can't, like 70% of all grocery stores in some way or another.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have no real, it would So I mean, like I said, I stay with the workers on that, and I've been trying to figure out what they're going to do. I thought they were already striking, then I
might be.
More.
I might have.
Still in talks.
JB was telling me yesterday about something, and he has somebody that wants to come on the show actually next week to talk about it. But well, I mean. Here's another thing: is that if the government is dysfunctional, I mean, in other words, there's problems going on with the people, but the government, for all these complicated reasons, is not responsive, or for the way certain vested interests are controlling the setup makes it so it can't respond. Well, okay, so I mean, the usual solution for that is to put people in motion and to walk out and to go on strike and have big protests and basically shut everything down until everybody turns around and starts to listen. Hey, there's somebody you have to talk to out here at the door about what the hell you're doing. And, you know, I'm reaching the point on a whole national level here where something like that's got to happen. I mean, let me just take the elementary one, is that you have a guy in a movement running for president that isn't going to regard the outcome.
Right.
Doesn't care about the election. And that's a pretty interesting, you know, like a pre-Civil War kind of move, okay? Well, it doesn't matter what you do, we're not going to recognize it, right? In other words, you're not legitimate. And we're not going to have a conversation, we're going to have a war. So, and when you're in that kind of situation, I don't know what you can do except try to mobilize people. You said, I'm sorry, folks, your representatives cannot represent you. You have to act for yourselves.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It takes everything. It's not just getting the right person elected. It takes all the bottom from the bottom up. You know, I've said it in an event at Harpers Ferry. It takes organizers on the ground doing the important work to get things done. It takes the activists to, you know, raise the alarm, raise the message, and then it has to all work in tandem together from bottom to the top. You know, that's where you get the right people elected. So your organizers have someone to back them up in DC or in the state. You know, but if you keep elected the wrong people, then you can only get so much done. But you know, so that absolutely it all becomes from the bottom up. So your organizers on the ground, like you said, and trying to get strikes to happen. Yes, I mean, you know, if there's it has to happen at this point, but it all has to work in tandem. And in a nation such as, like, you know, the United States of America, it all has to work in tandem to actually make the change necessary.
You know, you talk about you were in Harpers Ferry. That was reminded me of a question I wanted to ask. What areas of the state do you feel like you have the strongest foothold, or you know, kind of are the most challenging? Like, what is the dynamic when you have traveled around as far as your campaign?
I've had a lot of positive reactions across the state. It's kind of hard to name down. I think the Eastern Panhandle has been very great. Every time I go up there, it's always a great time, and I always have the most positive reception. I have a lot of you know, I come from Southern West Virginia, so that's the I'm known down here, and I have a lot of support down here as well. Morgantown's great. For me, for the hardest part to get into is probably just the incredibly rural counties in between, like, you know, in between Charleston and Morgantown. Really, they trying to get there, because there's trying to get meetings set up. That's the hardest. You know, like it comes down to the logistics. Like, what can I do? What can I do to get meetings set up there? Now, I am about to launch my field program, so you'll be we'll be deep all over the state. So this answer will change probably by in the next week or so.
Oh, that's wonderful. And like I told you in my text to you, you know, I've had a lot of people here locally ask me about, you know, ask my opinion, ask me about you. So that's why it is always nice to be able to talk to you, so I can speak honestly, not just based on a idea. But I always do tell people to check out your, you know, Facebook page and website and all that. Yeah. So what has been, I mean, you're a West Virginian, so there's probably not a lot that has surprised you, but has there been something that has come up by voters that you were, you know, had a scratch your head moment about? Is there something interesting?
I mean, anything coming out of the Capitol. Good Lord. On the campaign trail, not really. I mean, I've had No, not really. I've been doing this long enough to where everything's pretty normal at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, it really comes down to there's not a lot of scratch your head moments when it comes down to just talking to regular people. Republican or Democrat, it all comes down to the same thing. People are worried about keeping food on the table for their families. They worry about jobs, they worry about their families in addiction. Then they can't find recovery for it. They're not getting paid enough. When the thing is, it's communication that's lacking, and a lot of times people don't know what's going on at the state government level. Like you said, they're going to cut unemployment benefits. That's bad. That's horrible. But no one knows about it because you're not being told about it. So it really, if you want to change the outcome, it's going to take a very long. It's going to be a long process. But we have to get on the ground and start. Like it's almost like a massive door knocking campaign, going door to door in West Virginia, telling people this is what's going on at your state legislature.
And that kind of circles back to what I was saying in the beginning is just, that one-on-one, because people are so blindsided by, just whatever television station they watch. And they just, I think they're in a rut, honestly. And, people are just using the same rhetoric over and over. And it is so important, like you said, door knocking and feet on the ground, because it's the only way to really connect with people and try to break this cycle that we're in.
Well, yeah, that's like I said, I've had that's one of the things I do is I try to do it in MASH. Whoever's canvassing for me has the same messaging. Just be you, be upfront, and be honest about it. And and that's the thing. People, when you have a society that where jobs aren't plentiful, let's say let me use the coal fields for example. The nearest employment hub is like an hour away, so you have to drive an hour from your home to get there. You're getting paid probably $12 an hour. Then you got to drive back home. How much does that cost in gas? There goes part of your paycheck. Then you most likely have to have an outrageous daycare cost, so that your paycheck is essentially just going back and forth to work, barely making ends meet. You get back home, you have 3-4 hours to relax, you have to go to sleep. So what do? You worry about your food, you worry about your family, but you turn on that 1 hour, most likely Fox News, and that's what you're going to get for the day. And then you have Chris Miller telling you that people are scary, and then you have Riley Moore telling you some crazy message about illegal immigrants. But that's the fear mongering messaging that people get, that they go to bed with that. And
right.
That's what I'm saying. We have to ramp up our messaging to counter that, because it's just the ads coming out are disgusting, but people are seeing that.
It is. It's interesting that you brought that up. That's my dog. Sorry. I had two fellas here at my house yesterday doing some work for me, and it's a father and son. They live down below Petersburg, and they come to the Eastern Panhandle and stay during the week to work. And then they go home for the weekend. And I was talking to them about, what their home was like. And, it's a family farm, but their house burnt down a couple years ago. So they've been living in a camper and just telling me the whole story. And, frankly, I've lived in a camper before with my kids. And so I can relate. And we had just a great, great conversation. And they were just saying how they just wouldn't trade it for the world, even though they've had a tough run of it the last couple of years. And they love their property and the beauty and they're on the South Branch of the Potomac, and they fish and hunt, and they just absolutely love it. And I wanted more than anything to ask them about who they vote for, because it's kind of like you, Zach. It's like we have all the qualities of, we understand poverty, we love the environment, we understand the beauty of this state, and for us, it's like, how could you ever vote for Trump or vote Republican,
Yeah.
But then I had my question answered when they pulled away. Of course, I saw the bumper sticker on their truck, and it just, it boggles my mind. I mean, they were the sweetest people. They just, like you said, we were so aligned in so many ways, they love my dog, and they were telling me about their dog that just died.
Right.
I mean, we were the same, but then it's something that I just still, I don't have the answers to, but I keep pondering it.
Well, I have a couple of questions. Maybe if you're going for the United States Senate, now, historically, in West Virginia anyway, at least in my memory, my family came from West Virginia, but I only moved back here 20 years ago now. So,
yeah.
But anyway, it's Senator Byrd was famous for establishing a base semi-independent of the coal industry by bringing a ton of federal money into the state and a lot of public jobs. And he, by virtue of the fact that he was, in charge of the Appropriations Committee and was signing checks. So I think between him and Ted Stevens, that in Alaska, they sort of traded that off and brought a lot of money into the state. For Shepherdstown, Shepherd University, Harpers Ferry. I mean the Homeland Security, a lot of the federal military money in the state. So and when Joe got in, Manchin got in, he didn't have that same leverage, so he sort of designed his own, which was to stand right in between the Republican and Democratic parties and. Act like, and got himself in a situation where he was the guy who could vote an entire program like Biden's up or down,
right?
By what he was going to do, and he leveraged that to bring a ton of money from the, Inflation Reduction Act and the pandemic, recovery thing. So, so now when you get into the Senate, though, and you realize how much anti-poverty money from the federal government is coming into the state. I believe that I think that we get a third more. I have to look up the numbers to be sure, but I think we get about a third more from the federal government than we pay the federal government. So
I think we're funded. I think we're the most funded state, really.
Are we?
Or maybe we're the second. I can't remember off the top of my head.
You either have to have a really a really imaginative and creative industrial policy in mind for the state that would somehow, West Virginia exports a very high level of wealth, actually.
Yeah.
But how do you? Because if you went in, you wouldn't be. I don't think you're going to stand between the Republican and Democratic Party like Joe, and I don't think you're going to end up to be on the. You're going to be more like coming in like Bernie came in a little bit, right? So on the other hand, if you can't bring that money from the federal, and you're back in, right? Poverty is going to increase because the current industrial policy in the state is very difficult to alter.
Certainly, and that's it. You already can answer that question. You have to create your own leverage. You have to find that point. You have to find that spot where you can ensure that West Virginia is getting money to this location. Now, what's that look like? I mean, that's building alliances. That's you do have to work with others to make that happen. Like I say, you have to create your own leverage. Of course, out of everybody in this race, they would be a junior senator at this point. And that's one of my talking points is that this is one of the last elections for West Virginia that we can really remain relevant. Like Senator Manchin, no matter how we think about him, has kept us relevant because he's a very well-known politician and he's been powerful. Now that he's retiring, it's up for grabs, and it depends on what do you want, West Virginia? Do you want someone who's going to fight for you, find that leverage point, and get things here? Or are we going to surrender it to someone like Alec Mooney, or Jim Justice, who will sell us out or let us fade to oblivion? I mean, so that's been my biggest thing is you have to send a fighter there, and try. It comes down to is no matter who it is, we're all going to be at a junior level to the federal government, and it's going to come down to is what do you want to see in that seat? Do you want the same old, same old? Do you want Colbert? Do you want whatever the hell Mooney is?
Right.
Or do you want
Colbert.
someone who's going to fight for you?
How about now? Senators have quite a bit to say about foreign policy, so war and peace. How do you got any views on that?
I've been very pro peace. I was pro ceasefire from the very beginning with the situation in Gaza. And I've had, I think that it's been a very more accepted talking point everywhere I go, more so than I thought it would be. I thought it was a little more controversial, but it's not. I said I'm very pro peace. The situation in Ukraine for me is very complex because it's an ongoing war and there's so many parties involved. I keep saying that I wish we could find a peaceful resolution, but any politician or whoever is, let's say in front of a camera talking to you about this, trying to give you an answer, there is no answer right now for the Ukraine situation. There's multiple avenues you can take from. Whoever's going to tell you this is how we do it is lying to you. There is no one knows the way to do it because the situation is consistently changing. Either we make a DMZ scenario, you make Kiev a fortress city to where Russia can't actively take it, or you have to get concessions and give up the regions that they've taken and then have peace. You bring Ukraine to NATO. I don't know what it looks like. But I'm very much for a peaceful resolution in both accounts.
Benjamin Franklin once said that he never saw a good war or a bad peace, and he was a master of both. Yeah.
I said, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I was in the infantry. I have a lot of friends who, have just been forgotten about. Once you get out of the military, you become a veteran. You're very much. It's almost like being kicked to the curb. And this is a whole much longer conversation, but it's a big thing in the veteran community. Once you leave, you're kind of left out in the cold, and you're not. It's not hard. It's not easy to transition. So it's a whole different conversation. But it's another thing about that. That's what I'm saying. Like I do not want to see American boots on the ground in Europe. So that's why I'm so big on a peace resolution. I do not want to see NATO troops pouring into Ukraine because it will never be a good situation at all. It won't be a good outcome at all.
It can't end until you overthrow. Ukraine was in Russia for 800 years.
Yeah.
A lot longer than Texas was here. Okay, so you can see how emotions would be difficult to resolve. Anyway, but well, boy, okay, so
what's next on the campaign trail?
What's next, man?
Yeah.
Well, gosh, everything. where was I just the other day? I've been doing a lot of meetings across the state, meeting with union halls, Democratic executive committees, Federation of women groups. I've been doing meet and greets across the state. I probably do usually 3 or 4 things a week. I literally am going in my car. You can ask my waistline. I can't wait because I'm driving so much. But it's necessary. Like I'm consistently on the ground, meeting people and doing what I can. I'm in this to win. What's next is honestly it's going to be our field game. I have hundreds of volunteers signed up. People are really excited, really want to get things rolling. They want to know how to help. So you'll just keep watching my social media, and you'll.
I will, and I'll send people your way for sure. Did you get a chance to see Beto O'Rourke in Charleston?
I did not. No.
Okay, because he'll be here in Shepherdstown Sunday and Monday.
Monday, right?
I'll be up there Sunday, I believe. Yes.
Oh, you are coming on Sunday. Okay. Yeah. Well, 2:00 on Sunday at the Wall. That's a local term. In Shepherdstown. In Shepherdstown, right in the center of town, there's a wall. It's an old stone wall, and we're having a nonpartisan voting rights rally at 2:00.
Okay.
If you get into town early, and then I know there's the reception at 7:00 with Beto. So yeah, hit me up if you're in town, but we will be, I'd like to let everybody know. And John, you spread the word too. So 2:00, a voting rights rally in in Shepherdstown.
What's the what are the demands of the at the voting rights rally going to be? Do you know?
There are no demands.
Well,
We're just going to be out there. It's the first Sunday of the farmers market. We're really trying to get students, young people motivated. We feel like the weather's going to be nice. There will probably be a lot of people out and about. Actually, when we get off, I'm going to go work for a couple hours and then head over to the courthouse and get some materials about, deadlines, early voting, just educating people, reminding people how important it is to vote.
Oh, I see. So it's not so much voting. It's like get registered, get involved. Okay, so you've got some troops.
Yeah.
Maybe some campaign workers
and help people who help people who may not be registered. Reach out to your people that may not be registered and
true.
Get everybody involved.
We probably should set up a table at the college and get people listening to the programs more.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah,
I should work on that. Yeah, but
yeah. We just Jan Hafer and Amy and I've just kind of been a little bit on the sidelines, but helping out. I'm bringing a little PA system and all that. So if there's anybody there that wants to say something,
there was
about themselves.
There was in the news. There was a big crowd at the college day before yesterday over the ceasefire, right?
Absolutely. Yep, there was, and I think that was organized by some Shepherd students, but it was, and like I said, I just happened to see it when I drove through town. I didn't know about it, but it's pretty interesting in our little town that they had quite a turnout.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping that the voting rally will get,
who organized that. That's whoever did that. Good work.
Yeah, I might be able to find out on Sunday. So. Okay. So yeah, that's happening 2:00 Sunday.
2:00 Sunday. Voting. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Voting rights. And Monday is Beta O'Rourke at the Franks. Is that the Frank Center or the?
That is, yeah. He's coming in sometime on Sunday, and there is a ticket-only reception at the Bavarian on Sunday night at 7, and I believe that there are still tickets available for that. And the proceeds from that are going to the Bird Center. And then, let's see.
I bought a ticket to something. I know. I thought it was a Monday event that I bought a ticket.
Yeah, the Monday event is his open to the public main event, and that is where Beto will be speaking at the Frank Center. And
he's not running for president though yet, right?
No, unfortunately.
Well. I don't know. I'm wondering whether we're going to make it to the election at all. Without someone start issuing executive orders. It's just I'm a little concerned about that.
Fingers crossed.
The polls in the Midwest, for example. Let me get Zach to react to this because I find it both confusing and disturbing. One is that in the 7 swing states, and I don't remember all of them, but Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, I forget, there's a bunch more. Trump leads Biden in the major polls by between 2% and 4% everywhere.
Yeah,
in those states, and at the same time. A different poll, a different, set of question survey was asking people about 6 out of 10 people said they thought that Trump was dangerous, and then 8 out of 10 people thought that Biden's too old to be president.
Right.
And that sounds like a bad cocktail.
It's going to come down. We don't need another 2016 approach. Biden needs to get to those states and start campaigning there hard. And it comes down to, for me, it's going to come down to union support. The man needs to be more pro-union than he is now, and start hitting those states hard on campaign. I don't see Biden campaigning that hard, and I'm not sure why they're not. But he needs to go ahead and come out the gate if he's going to be the nominee, then he needs the Biden campaign, whoever his staff is, needs to go ahead and step into gear and get to those states. Because I mean, we saw it in 2016 where Clinton ignored those states, thinking that she had it in the bag, and those states ultimately took the race from her. So,
yeah,
I don't know if we still learned a lesson or.
I totally agree, and I just, that's the concern: is does he have it in him to do that hard campaigning? And I mean, it's got to happen, and it'll happen soon. And otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I think Taylor Swift's the only one that can save him.
Yeah, maybe.
If she threw her hat in the race, but she's probably not even old enough.
No, well, who knows?
On that note.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, right. Well, I mean, she's smart enough, that's for sure, because she's demonstrated that. But
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to hop, but
I know.
You guys can
we have to leave it at this point. Unfortunately. Oh my God. Anyway, Zach, well, I view you like, one of King Arthur's knights, who got sent off on a really, difficult trip. And I hope you get to the lake and the lady gives you that sword, okay?
Yeah, thanks for melting the horse. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you all for having me on.
All right, thank you, man. And then just keep us in touch, and anything we can do to, help you, push the message or do what we can.
Just keep talking to people, share my stuff, and like I said, just keep watching. I got some more things coming, so
great.
I'm planning to win.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Great. Thanks,
all right, everybody. This is the Winners and Losers Radio program signing off once again on a Friday, and I can't do a Howard Cosell impersonation like Mike, but anyway, we'll be back next week with another exciting program about Shepherdstown and things that are trying to destroy Shepherdstown.
Shepherdstown and beyond.
The growing.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Get out there and come to the rally and do what you can.
Sunday, too. All right. Take care of each other. It's late, but everything comes next.
Recording stopped.